You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. John Jancek is moving into an on-field role this year. We know that. He's taken on the special teams coordinator role, but he's also going to coach the outside linebackers. When he met with reporters on Tuesday, here was John Jancek talking about the opportunity to coach the outside linebackers.
You know, my experience is I've been fortunate that I've been a defensive coordinator, not only in this league, but, several schools. So I'm pretty well versed in coverage. I'm pretty well versed in pass rush and then pretty well versed in the run game. And I think that's that position. That's the outside linebacker position. You have to be fluid in your pass coverage. You've got to be able to rush the passer, and you've got to be able to defend the run game as well. So it's a really exciting position to coach, and it requires a really great skill set for the guys that we recruit at that position.
Here is the really bizarre thing about outside linebacker. You were so dang talented there. The guy who is going to be LSU's highest drafted player in next week's draft is B.J. Ojulari. He was your jack linebacker last year. Remember, when Ed Ogeron was here, you saw sort of this formative change defensively. Dave Aranda ran a 3-4 and kind of recruited to that. Ed, once Dave left, wanted to move to a 4-3, so you saw that transition to a more traditional 4-3 defense. And now Brian Kelly's here, and Matt House comes in, and you saw more of a change to more that 3-4 look. And so instead of hand-in-the-dirt edge, you're looking at like that stand-up jack outside backer spot. And man, last year, that suits B.J. Ojulari. 6'3", 250. He's not Daniil Hunter. He's not hand-in-the-dirt, get-up-the-field edge, right? He's stand-up, be super athletic, drop in coverage, flip your hips if you need to. It's suited Ojulari. It's why he had a great season. It's what he's going to play at the next level as well. Like B.J. Ojulari last year played in 11 games. Of course, he had some injury, so he missed a few games, so they sort of intentionally held him out. But in 11 games, he had 34 tackles, 8.5 for loss, 5.5 sacks. He was great. B.J. Ojulari was great. And the problem they had was they wanted to get Harold Perkins on the field somewhere. He was too green to play him in the middle, but they knew he could be athletic off the edge. But how did you get him and Ojulari on the field at the same time? Well, they figured it out, and Perkins played jack, and Perkins had last year 39 tackles, 13 for loss, 7.5 sacks. He earned freshman All-America honors. He was sensational. I mean, all of the conversations we've had about Perkins are all warranted. 14 quarterback hurries. Ojulari had 13 quarterback hurries. You had two amazing players at that spot last year. And Ojulari's going off to the draft, and you should be fired up because, man, you got Perkins coming back, and the thought is, great, man, now Perkins is your every down jack, but you're moving him inside. So your two amazing players at that spot last year both aren't at that spot this year. So it's a little more complex when you look at that jack position. But as odd as it is to say, you're probably going to be deeper, and you're certainly going to be more experienced at that spot this year heading into 2023. First of all, here was John Jancek talking about how he is still working with Harold Perkins, even though Perkins has moved inside.
He's playing will linebacker for us in most of our first and second down packages. When we go to our third down package, Harold will come over and we'll talk about line stunts. He'll come with us with the D-line and the players that are in our third down packages and work line stunts and pressures and things of that nature. So it's mostly third down when I get a chance to work with Harold.
So that's really interesting because, quite honestly, that's what we saw Perkins do last year. On obvious passing downs where you needed, or downs where you needed a rush, that's where Perkins kicked out and played the jack spot for the rest of the time. And so he actually becomes even more versatile now as a guy that is going to be your inside linebacker playing Mike, but they're also working him at the jack at spots as well whenever they may need it. What is also really interesting about that jack spot, last year it was Ojulari and Perkins. And they had to get, major credit to Matt House for figuring out a way to, despite their shortcomings, the lack of a rotation on the inside, some of the, obviously losing Mason Smith was so massive because he was going to be able to play inside or out for you. finding a way to get Ojulari and Perkins on the field at the same time. All the things. Like, Matt House just proved his worth. His worth of his weight in gold. He's worth his weight in gold. That's it. I knew there was a saying there I was trying to get to. It got there. But now you look into this season, and you look at the depth on the interior, which we've talked about a ton. You've brought in 4 defensive tackle transfers. You're getting Mason Smith back, all this stuff. But look at the jack spot. Braden Swinson from Oregon. Long, athletic prototype, right? Ovi Agofu comes in from Texas, going to play a 6th collegiate season, who started his career with Brian Kelly, then went to Texas, and now is at LSU, a guy who has played a ton of football. And then you've got Deshaun Womack, who is, I hesitate to draw this comparison, but basically like this year's Harold Perkins, right? The 5-star, freakish, athletic edge guy in this class. So you got those 3 guys, and Perkins on third down if you need him. All of a sudden, you're deeper and more talented and more experienced, even than when you had Ojulari and Perkins, who were both awesome, but now you've got even more options. As we continue to talk about this LSU football team and why the expectations are where they are, this is part of the reason why. Like, you were so thin a year ago and so reliant on just those frontline guys to stay healthy and be great. Like, Mekhi Wingo had to stay healthy and emerge and be an All-America caliber player for you to be even respectable on the interior, right? Ojulari and Perkins had to stay healthy last year. And they did by and large, and gave you what they gave you on the way to winning 10 games. You're so deeper and have so many more options this year. It's fun. And look, we talked about Jancek, guy with that much experience, as he said, has been a defensive coordinator in the league, been a position coach in the league. He can certainly coach this position. And I think you're going to see all those guys be put in the best spots. Your defensive coordinator is a linebackers coach as well. So, man, all the production returning on offense, depth on defense, experience. A lot of reason to be excited. John Jancek talking to some OLBs. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.